Azerbaijan Democratic Republic. Published November the 16th, 2017. Special characters are denoted as follows. And denotes beginning and ending single or double quotations. And denotes left and right parentheses. Denotes an M dash. Denotes 3 consecutive periods. The Azerbaijan Democratic Republic, a DR, in Azerbaijani, Azərbaycan Demokratikari Spublikas, also known as Azerbaijan People's Republic, in Azerbaijani, Azərbaycan's Olksiyumhuriyfdi, was the third democratic republic in the Turkic world and Muslim world, after the Crimean People's Republic and Idel-Ural Republic. The DR was founded by the Azerbaijani National Council in Tiflis on the 28th of May 1918 after the collapse of the Russian Empire. Its established borders were with Russia to the north, the Democratic Republic of Georgia to the northwest, the First Republic of Armenia to the west, and Iran to the south. It had a population of 2.86 million. Ganya was the temporary capital of the republic as Baku was under Bolshevik control. The name of Azerbaijan, which the leading Musavat party adopted, for political reasons, was, prior to the establishment of the Azerbaijan Democratic Republic in 1918, exclusively used to identify the adjacent region of contemporary northwestern Iran. Under the DR, a government system was developed in which a parliament elected on the basis of universal, free, and proportionate representation was the supreme organ of state authority. The Council of Ministers was held responsible before it. Fat Ali Khan Khoiski became its first prime minister. Besides the Musavat majority, it had Muslim Social Democrats as well as representatives of Armenian. 21 out of 120 seats. Russian, Polish, Jewish and German minorities gained seats in the parliament. Some members supported pan-Islamist and pan-Turkist ideas. Among the important accomplishments of the parliament was the extension of suffrage to women, making Azerbaijan one of the first countries in the world, and the very first majority Muslim nation, to grant women equal political rights with men. Another important accomplishment of the DR was the establishment of Baku State University, which was the first modern-type university founded in Azerbaijan. Part 1. Establishment. From 1813 and 1828, as a result of Qajar Iran's forced accession through the Treaty of Gulistan, 1813, and the Treaty of Turkmenchay, 1828, the territory of modern-day Azerbaijan, and in turn what was the short-lived DR, had become part of the Russian Empire. By 1917, when both Russian revolutions took place, the territory of the actual Azerbaijan had been part of the empire's Transcaucasian administrative region for more than 100 years, alongside the rest of the Transcaucasus, ever since Iran's accession. It was a multinational region of the Russian Empire, where 3 independent states were born later: Armenia, Georgia and Azerbaijan. The population of the latter was in major part Muslims, and that is why it is often referred to as Muslim territory when talking about this period of history. After the February Revolution of 1917 in Russia on March the 22nd, 1917, the Special Transcaucasian Committee, OSACOM, short for Osobizakov-Koski Komitet, was established to fill the administrative gap following the abdication of the Tsar. The members of OSACOM were the members of the State Council and representatives of the Armenian, Georgian and Azerbaijan political elite. OSACOM announced that in the following months the most important issues, that is, national, religious, agrarian and social, were to be solved by the Transcaucasian Constituent Assembly. In the course of April and May 1917 several Muslim assemblies took place. Like many ethnic minorities of Transcaucasia, Azbris aimed at secession from Russia after the February Revolution. Two general opinions were expressed by the representatives of the Muslim community. Mamad Hasan Hajinsky, Mamad Amin Rasul's aide, Ali Mardan Topchubashov, Fat Ali Khan Khoisky, and other founders of the future Azerbaijan Democratic Republic. Pan-Turkish, meaning joining with Turkey, and federalization. Expressed by M. Rasul Zaid. The Transcaucasian region got an opportunity to decide its destiny, taking the course of federalization. In accordance with the new structure, the Transcaucasian region was to have a fully independent internal policy, leaving to the new Russian government only foreign policy, defense and army, and custom. After the October Revolution of 1917, the Transcaucasian government had to change its policy as Russia was now involved in the civil war. The Transcaucasians did not accept the Bolshevik Revolution. In February 1918, the Transcaucasian Council Sejm started its work in Tbilisi, and this was the first serious step towards complete independence of the Caucasian nations. The Sejm consisted of 125 deputies and represented three leading parties: Georgian Mensheviks, 32 deputies; Azerbaijan Muslims, Moavet, 30 deputies; and Armenian Dashnaks, 27 deputies. Bolsheviks refused to join the Sejm and established their own government of the local Soviet in Baku, the so-called Baku Commune, November 1917. The 31st of July 1918, the Commune was formed by 85 social revolutionaries and left social revolutionaries, 48 Bolsheviks, 36 Dashnaks, 18 Musavatists and 13 Mensheviks. Stepan Shorman, a Bolshevik, and Prokopius Chaparadze, a leftist senior, were elected chairman of the Council of People's Commissioners of the Commune of Baku. The Russian Caucasus army was degrading after the collapse of the Russian Empire. The Russian forces were substituted by new Armenian bodies, which were not prepared to the war. Given the circumstances, the Transcaucasian Sejm signed the Armistice of Ozankan with the Ottoman Empire on December 5, 1917. On March 3, 1918, the Bolshevik government in Russia signed the Brest-Litovsk Treaty with Germany. One of the terms was the loss of the regions of Kars, Batumi and Ardahan to the Ottoman Empire. The terms of the treaty revealed a deep conflict between Georgians and Armenians on one side and the Muslims on another. The peace talks between the Sejm and Turkey started in March 1918. In Trabzon did not have any results. The Ottoman Empire delivered an ultimatum to the Sejm with requirements to accept the terms of the Brest-Litovsk Treaty and initiated an attack to occupy the territories of Kars, Batumi and Ardahan. In March 1918, ethnic and religious tension grew and the Armenian-Azeri conflict in Baku began. The Musavat and Itaad parties were accused of pan-Turkism by the Bolsheviks and their allies. The Armenian and Muslim militias engaged in armed confrontation, with the formerly neutral Bolsheviks tacitly supporting the Armenian side. All the non-Azeri political groups of the city joined the Bolsheviks against the Muslims. Bolsheviks, Dashnaks, social revolutionaries, Mensheviks and even the anti-Bolshevik cadets found themselves for the first time on the same side of the barricade because they were all fighting for the Russian cause. Equating the Azris with the Ottoman Turks, the Dashnaks launched a massacre on the city's Azris in revenge for the Armenian genocide in the Ottoman Empire. As a result, between 3,000 and 12,000 Muslims were killed in what is known as the March Days. Muslims were expelled from Baku, or went underground. At the same time, the Baku Commune was involved in heavy fighting with the advancing Ottoman Caucasian Army of Islam in and around Ganya. Major battles occurred in Yevlik and Agdash, where the Turks routed and defeated Dashnak and Russian forces. Citation needed. The Bolshevik account of the events of March 1918 in Baku is presented by Viktor Sergin, Year 1 of the Russian Revolution, the Soviet at Baku, led by Shorman, was meanwhile making itself the ruler of the area, discreetly but unmistakably. Following the Muslim rising of the 18th of March, it had to introduce a dictatorship. This rising, instigated by the Mu'avat, set the Tatar and Turkish population, led by their reactionary bourgeoisie, against the Soviet, which consisted of Russians with support from the Armenians. The races began to slaughter each other in the street. Most of the Turkish port workers, the Ambul, either remained neutral or supported the Reds. The contest was won by the Soviets. On the 26th of May 1918, the Transcaucasian Democratic Federative Republic fell and its bodies were dissolved. The Azerbaijani faction constituted itself into the Azerbaijani National Council, NC. The Azerbaijani National Council immediately undertook parliamentary functions and proclaimed the foundation of the Azerbaijani Democratic Republic on the 28th of May 1918 and declared the National Charter, which read as follows. 1. Azerbaijan is fully sovereign nation. It consists of the southern and eastern parts of Transcaucasia under the authority of the Azerbaijani people. 1. It is resolved that the form of government of the independent Azerbaijani state is a democratic republic. 1. The Azerbaijani Democratic Republic is determined to establish friendly relations with all, especially with the neighboring nations and states. 1. The Azerbaijani Democratic Republic guarantees to all its citizens within its borders full civil and political rights, regardless of ethnic origin, religion, class, profession, or sex. 1. The Azerbaijani Democratic Republic encourages the free development of all nationalities inhabiting its territory. 1. Until the Azerbaijani Constituent Assembly is convened, the supreme authority over Azerbaijan is vested in a universally elected National Council and the provisional government responsible to this council. The council was opposed by ultranationalists who accused it of being too left-wing. The council was abolished after the opening of the parliament on the 7th of December 1918. Part 2. Policy. Despite existing for only 2 years, the multi-party Azerbaijani Parliamentary Republic and the coalition governments managed to achieve a number of measures on nation and state building, education, creation of an army, independent financial and economic systems, international recognition of the ADR as a de facto state pending de jure recognition, official recognition and diplomatic relations with a number of states, preparing of a constitution, equal rights for all, etc. This laid an important foundation for the re-establishment of independence in 1991. Part 2. Policy. Chapter 1. Domestic. Political life in the ADR was dominated by the Musavat Party, the local winner of the Constituent Assembly elections of 1917. The first parliament of the Republic opened on December 5, 1918. Musavat had 38 members in parliament, which consisted of 97 deputies, and with some independent MPs formed the biggest faction. The Republic was governed by 5 cabinets. The 6th was being in the process when Azerbaijan was occupied by the Bolsheviks. Element or table removed. Unsuitable for speech. All cabinets were formed by a coalition of Musavat and other parties including the Muslim Socialist Bloc, the Independents, ERA, and the Muslim Social Democratic Party. The Conservative Ittihad Party was the major opposition force and didn't participate in the cabinet formations, except its member was State Inspector General in the last cabinet. The premier in the first 3 cabinets was Fat Ali Khan Khoiski. In the last 2, Nasib Yusuf Beyli. The formation of the next cabinet was assigned to Mamad Hasan Hajinsky, but he was unable to form it due to lack of time and majority backing in the parliament, and also the Bolshevik invasion. The chairman of the parliament, Alimardan Topchubashev, was recognized as the head of state. In this capacity he represented Azerbaijan at the Versailles Paris Peace Conference in 1919. Part 2. Policy. Chapter 2. Foreign relations. The ADR government remained neutral on the issue of the Russian Civil War and never sided with the Red or White Army. Throughout its existence from 1918 to 1920, the Republic of Azerbaijan had diplomatic relations with a number of states. Among the representation of the ADR abroad were the Azerbaijani peace delegation in Paris, consisting of the Chair Alimardan Topchebashev, A.A. Sheikh Al-Islamov, M. Maharamov, M. Mehmedeyev and advisor Bihajabayov, diplomatic representative to Georgia, Farist Bey Vekalov, to Armenia, Abdurrahman Bayakvedayev, advisor Agar Salamusayev, to Persia, Agar Khan Kiatkhan and his assistant Alakpa Bey Sadikhov, in Constantinople, Yusuf Bey Vazirov, his financial advisor, Jangir Bey Gayev General, consul in Batumi, Mahmud Bey Ifandayev, consul to Ukraine, Jamal Sadikhov and consul in Crimea, Sheikh Ali Husseinov. Agreements on the principles of mutual relations were signed with some of them. 16 states established their missions in Baku. List of the foreign diplomatic missions in Azerbaijan. Element or table removed. Unsuitable for speech. Chapter 2. Foreign Relations. Section 1. Recognition by allies. A delegation from Azerbaijan attended the Paris Peace Conference, 1919. Upon its arrival, the Azerbaijani delegation addressed a note to U.S. President Woodrow Wilson, making the following requests. 1. That the independence of Azerbaijan be recognized. 2. That Wilsonian principles be applied to Azerbaijan. 3. That the Azerbaijani delegation be admitted to the Paris Peace Conference. 4. That Azerbaijan be admitted to the League of Nations. 5. That the United States War Department extend military help to Azerbaijan. And 6. That diplomatic relations be established between the United States of America and the Republic of Azerbaijan. President Wilson granted the delegation an audience, at which he displayed a cold and rather unsympathetic attitude. As the Azerbaijani delegation reported to its government, Wilson had stated that the conference did not want to partition the world into small pieces. Wilson advised Azerbaijan that it would be better for them to develop a spirit of confederation, and that such a confederation of all the peoples of Transcaucasia could receive the protection of some power on the basis of a mandate granted by the League of Nations. The Azerbaijani question, Wilson concluded, could not be solved prior to the general settlement of the Russian question. However, despite Wilson's attitude, on January 12, 1920, the Allied Supreme Council extended de facto recognition to Azerbaijan, along with Georgia and Armenia. Bulletin d'Information de l'Azerbaïdjan wrote, the Supreme Council at one of its last sessions recognized the de facto independence of the Caucasian republics, Azerbaijan, Georgia, and Armenia. The delegation of Azerbaijan and Georgia had been notified of this decision by M. Jules Cambon at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs on the 15th of January, 1920. Furthermore, in the House of Commons the British Under-Secretary for Foreign Affairs, Mr. Greenwood, was asked on what date recognition had been extended to Georgia, Azerbaijan, and Armenia, and whether, in accordance with such recognition, official representatives have been exchanged, and the boundaries of the Transcaucasian republics defined. Mr. Greenwood replied, quote, instructions were sent to the British Chief Commissioner for the Georgian and Azerbaijani governments that the Allied powers represented on the Supreme Council had decided to grant de facto recognition of Georgia and Azerbaijan, but that this decision did not prejudge the question of the respective boundaries. There has been no change in representation as a result of recognition. As before, His Majesty's government have a British Chief Commissioner for the Caucasus with headquarters at Tiflis, and the three republics have their accredited representatives in London. The Allies recognized the Transcaucasian republics partly because of their fear of Bolshevism, but their activities directed against Bolshevism, at least in Transcaucasia, did not go much beyond words, the strongest of which were status quo, recognition, démarche, and a list of standard diplomatic remonstrances. Chapter 2. Foreign Relations. Section 2. Persia. The name of Azerbaijan, which the leading Musavat party adopted, for political reasons, was prior to the establishment of the Azerbaijan Democratic Republic in 1918 exclusively used to identify the adjacent region of contemporary northwestern Iran. The decision to use the name Azerbaijan drew some protests from Iran. According to Tadeusz Swiatkowski, quote, although the proclamation restricted its claim to the territory north of the Araz River, the use of the name Azerbaijan would soon bring objections from Iran. In Tehran, suspicions were aroused that the Republic of Azerbaijan served as an Ottoman device for detaching the Tabriz province from Iran. Likewise, the National Revolutionary Jangali movement in Gilan, while welcoming the independence of every Muslim land as a source of joy, asked in its newspaper if the choice of the name Azerbaijan implied the new republic's desire to join Iran. If so, they said, it should be stated clearly, otherwise Iranians would be opposed to calling that republic Azerbaijan. Consequently, to allay Iranian fears, the Azerbaijani government would accommodatingly use the term Caucasian Azerbaijan in its documents for circulation abroad. On the 16th of July 1919, the Council of Ministers of Adiyar appointed Adil Khan Zayed Khan, who had up to that time served as Assistant Minister of Foreign Affairs, diplomatic representative of Azerbaijan to the court of the Persian King of Kings. A Persian delegation headed by Saifuddin Tabatar came to Baku to negotiate transit, tariff, mail, customs, and other such agreements. Speeches were made in which the common bonds between Caucasian Azerbaijan and Iran were stressed. Part 3. Territorial Disputes. Much like its other counterparts in the Caucasus, the ADR's early years of existence were plagued with territorial disputes. In particular, these included disputes with the First Republic of Armenia, Nakhchivan, Nagorno-Karabakh, and Jezza, today the Armenian province of Syunik, and Kazakh, and the Democratic Republic of Georgia, Balakan, Zakatala, and Kak. The ADR also claimed territories of the mountainous Republic of the Northern Caucasus, Derbent, but they were not as persistent about these claims as they were about the territories they disputed between Armenia and Georgia. Part 3. Territorial Disputes. Chapter 1. Armenian-Azerbaijani War. In the summer of 1918, the Dashnaks, together with the SRS and the Mensheviks, expelled the Bolsheviks, who refused to ask for British support, and founded the Centro-Caspian Dictatorship, the 1st of August 1918. The 15th of September 1918, the CCD was supported by the British, who sent an expeditionary force to Baku to help the Armenians and the Mensheviks. The purpose of the British forces, led by Major General Lionel Dunstaville, who arrived from Persia-Senzeli at the head of a 1,000-strong elite force, was to seize the oil fields in Baku ahead of Enver Pasha's advancing Turkish troops, Army of Islam, or the Kaiser's German troops, who were in neighboring Georgia, and to block a Bolshevik consolidation in the Caucasus and Central Asia. The city of Baku only became the capital of the Republic in September 1918. Unable to resist advancing Turkish troops during the Battle of Baku, Dunstaville ordered the evacuation of the city on September 14, after 6 weeks of occupation, and withdrew to Iran. Most of the Armenian population escaped with the British forces. The Ottoman Army of Islam and its Osiri allies, led by Nuri Pasha, entered Baku on September 15 and slaughtered between 10,000 and 20,000 Armenians in retaliation for the March massacre of Muslims. The capital of the ADR was finally moved from Ganya to Baku. However, after the armistice of Mudros between Great Britain and Turkey on October 30, Turkish troops were replaced by the allies of World War I, headed by British General William Montgomery Thompson, who had declared himself the military governor of Baku. 5,000 Commonwealth soldiers arrived in Baku on November 17, 1918. By General Thompson's order, martial law was implemented in Baku. Part 3. Territorial Disputes. Chapter 2. Fight for Survival. The ADR found itself in a difficult position, hemmed in from the north by advancing Denikin forces, unfriendly Iran in the south. The British administration was not hostile but indifferent to the plight of Muslims. General Thompson initially did not recognize the Republic. Citation needed, but tacitly cooperated with it. Citation needed. On April 25, 1919, a violent protest organized by Polish workers of pro-Bolshevik orientation exploded in Lankaran and deposed the Ma'un Territorial Administration, a military dictatorship led by Russian Colonel V.T. Sukharukov. On May 15, the Extraordinary Congress of the Councils of Workers and Peasants Deputies of Lankaran District proclaimed the Ma'un Soviet Republic. By mid-1919 the situation in Azerbaijan had more or less stabilized, and British forces left on August 19, 1919. This made the ADR pursue a neutral policy with regards to the Russian Civil War. On June 16, 1919, the ADR and Georgia signed a defensive treaty against the white troops of General Anton Denikin's volunteer army who were threatening to start an offensive on their borders. Denikin concluded a secret military pact with Armenia. The Republic of Armenia with its forces formed the 7th Corps of Denikin's army and gained military support from the White Movement. This fact increased the tension between the ADR and Armenia. However, the war never materialized as by January 1920, Denikin's army was completely defeated by the 11th Red Army, which later started to concentrate its troops on Azerbaijan's borders. Armenia and Azerbaijan were engaged in fighting over Karabakh for some part of 1919. The fighting increased in intensity by February 1920 and martial law was introduced in Karabakh, which was enforced by the newly formed National Army, led by General Samed B. Memandarov. Part 4. Fall of the Azerbaijan Democratic Republic. April 1920. The Baku secession in 1918 was a sensitive strike for Soviet Russia, and it caused heavy consequences during the economic warfare. Moscow's intention to regain control of the vitally necessary region was strong and coherent, and on its way the Soviet government was ready to accept any concession. In 1918 and 1919 Soviet Russia rejected all attempts made by the ADR to establish diplomatic relations between the two. 1920 was marked by a diplomatic dispatch which started with a radiogram sent by Minister of Foreign Affairs Chicherin, which said, "The government of the Russian Socialist Federative Republic reverts to Azerbaijan with an initiative to immediately launch talks with the Soviet government aiming at acceleration and finishing of the White Army bodies in the south of Russia." In his response, Khan Khoisky, the head of the Azerbaijan government, insisted on non-interference in the internal affairs of the country. The Soviets considered this position as support rendered by Azerbaijan to the White Army led by Denikin, and lobby of the British interests on the Caspian Sea. In 1919 the Azerbaijan left parties including the Baku Organization of the Russian Communist Party, Gumet, and Adalat, started consolidating, and by the end of the year the Azerbaijan Communist Party, ACP, was created. The ACP held an active agitation campaign in Baku and its region and was supported by Russia. In 1920 the Soviet government established a strong relationship with the new Turkish government headed by Mustafa Kemal. The Soviets were ready to supply Turkey with armaments in exchange for Turkish military support in Azerbaijan. Turkey particularly suggested using military bodies formed in Dagestan to occupy Baku and to avoid exploding its petrol storage reservoirs. Turkish support played an important role and attracted to the Bolsheviks the sympathies of the Muslim population in Azerbaijan. By March 1920, it was obvious that the economic and political situation in the ADR had reached a crucial point. In accordance with the analysis made by the Bolsheviks, the ADR government received weak support from the people, and this should have provided success to the operation. Vladimir Lenin said that the invasion was justified by the fact that Soviet Russia could not survive without Baku oil. After a major political crisis, the Fifth Cabinet of Ministers of the Azerbaijan Democratic Republic resigned on April 1, 1920. In the beginning of April 1920, the Russian 11th Red Army reached the border of Azerbaijan and prepared to attack. The official date of the operation is considered April 25, 1920, when the Azerbaijan Communist Party transformed the party's cells into military bodies, which were to take part in the attack. On April 27, 1920, the Provisional Revolutionary Committee with Nuriman Nurimanov as chairman was established and issued the ADR government an ultimatum. The Labour military detachments managed to occupy oil fields, state offices, post offices. Police regiments defected to the rebels. To avoid bloodshed, the deputies complied with the demand, and the ADR officially ceased to exist on April 28, 1920, giving way to the Azerbaijan Soviet Socialist Republic. Azerbaijan SSR. As its successor state, the Red Army, which entered Baku by April 30, 1920, met very little resistance in Baku from Azerbaijani forces, which were tied up on the Karabakh front. The first communist government of Azerbaijan consisted almost entirely of native Azerbaijanis from the left factions of the Hamat and Adalat parties. In May 1920, there was a major uprising against the occupying Russian 11th Army in Ganya, intent on restoring Musevetists in power. The uprising was crushed by government troops by May 31. Leaders of the ADR either fled to the Democratic Republic of Georgia, Turkey and Iran, or were captured by the Bolsheviks and executed, including General Selimov, General Solkovich, General Aglarov, a total of over 20 generals. Mamdamin Rasulzade was later allowed to emigrate, or assassinated by Armenian militants like Fat Ali Khan Khoisky and Bibadag Hajavensha. Most students and citizens traveling abroad remained in those countries, never to return. Other prominent ADR military figures like former Minister of Defense General Samed B. Memandarov and Deputy Defense Minister General Ali Agar Sheklinsky, who was called the God of Artillery, were at first arrested but then released 2 months later thanks to efforts of Nuriman Nurimanov. General Memandarov and General Sheklinsky spent their last years teaching in the Azerbaijan SSR military school. In the end, the Azeris did not surrender their brief independence of 1918-20 quickly or easily. As many as 20,000 died resisting what was effectively a Russian reconquest. However, it has to be noted that the installation of the Azerbaijan Soviet Socialist Republic was made easier by the fact that there was a certain popular support for Bolshevik ideology in Azerbaijan, in particular among the industrial workers in Baku. Part 5. Maps. This recording is a derivative work from Wikipedia. For more information, please visit www.frogcast.org.